Hi. Today I have the pleasure of talking to Professor Andreas Schäfer, who is visiting the Institute for Choice from UCL's Energy Institute. Welcome, Andreas.
Thank you, Spring.
Now, while you're here visiting the Institute, you'll be presenting on transportation in a carbon-constrained world. What does that issue mean, I guess, for everyday people, and what really interests you about that area?
So, as our economy develops and continues to grow, the demand for transportation grows as well. People, as they become richer, they want to travel more. And as they travel more, they consume more energy and generate more emissions of greenhouse gases and other species. And then the question is, what can you do about it? And the objective would be to interfere as little as possible with people's travel habits and travel desires, but ideally manage the emissions, energy use and emissions problem.
And I guess there's been a lot of developments innovation-wise in the transportation area, particularly in the last few years. What innovations do you see as having the biggest impact on consumer behaviour?
In terms of managing energy use and emissions, in the near-term future, presumably electric vehicles, first on the ground and then in the air. These technologies can generate a massive difference in terms of emissions if, of course, electricity is being produced and on a renewable basis, and the prospects are very good at the moment. Price decline and heavy investments in renewable power sources. However, there are also other technologies on the horizon that can make things worse with respect to energy use and emissions. Take automated vehicles, for example, that can make generate a whole wave of suburbanization in addition to what we have already, and strongly increase the demand for travel and energy use.
And so I guess specifically, what are you interested in researching in this area? And what are some of the, I guess, issues or constraints that you see for researchers who are interested in working in this area?
My research interests are on the demand side, on one hand, understanding how people have traveled in the past and how they may travel in the future, which means how much they will travel, what modes of transportation they are likely to take. On the supply side, I'm interested on the technologies that may become available in order to reduce energy use and greenhouse gas emissions. And then the question is bringing the two pieces together and balance demand and supply in order to understand the implications of the rising travel demand on energy use and emissions and what can be done about it in terms of government policy. The biggest barrier, I believe, to researchers in this area is the availability of data. On an aggregate level, this is where I'm mainly looking at, you can still estimate some of the data reliably, but it's a big effort. On a more disaggregate level, you would heavily have to rely on surveys and the like, which of course are not available for many parts of the world.
Andreas, I guess what's one thing that you can see that governments or businesses should be doing to respond to some of these issues?
Well, business will have to heavily invest into the capital-intensive technologies that are required in order to make a difference with respect to energy use and CO2 emissions. And in order to do that, they, of course, want to have a predictable and coherent economic environment. And I think this is the task of the governments then to exactly provide this in order for business to move along and to provide consumers with these technologies that are required.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, Andreas. And if you'd like to hear more about Andreas's work, we'll provide some links below the video. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.